Good afternoon, meat suits. Welcome back to Read It and Weep, a podcast about movies and friendship. This is Season 5, Kevin Bacon's Exquisite Corpse. We are just four terracotta warriors stuffed with cash who are playing a very long movie-watching game. I'm your host, Alex Falcone, recording today in North Koreatown, Los Angeles. I'm joined, as always, he's at Anthony Lopez Part 2 on Twitter. He's in Southeast Portland, and I'm just going to pretend he's a man, a very beautiful man with a great body that I'd like to take to the movies. It's Anthony Lopez.
I'm looking at the IMDb quotes page for this, and I can't find a single one that won't get me canceled if I say it on the podcast.
I think she said
what's so great about the IMDb quotes page is that it took me so long to find a funny one, and like half of the ones that were actually funny were from the blooper reel. Like even IMDb quotes was like, the funnier stuff was when they didn't talk about the script.
Yeah.
Also joining us.
This guest won't be in Rush Hour 3.
Oh, that's the one I was going to use for Ezra. Joining us, he's a co-host of Old Gamers Almanac, the podcast. He's from the woods of Brooklyn, and women like him. They think he's cute, like Snoopy. It's Hunter Donaldson.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to say for the record today, I'm doing all my own stunts on this pod.
Nice.
It's actually me the whole time. Like, normally it isn't, though.
Normally we have just another guy who looks just like you.
Yeah. It's my double, and then he does all the movie talk because I don't really like watching the movies. But I did watch this one, and I'm going to participate this time.
Well, the Hunter Donaldson
team
is famous, you know, in the podcasting world. Everyone respects the Hunter Donaldson.
There's 5 of us.
Rounding out the panel today, he's in Northern California, and he ain't going to be in Rush Hour 3. It's Ezra Fox. It's just not very many good quotes from this movie. It's weird.
I feel bad that I had something to do with making us watch this. So,
yeah. What a choice. All right, we'll come back to this, though. We had a couple things to do with in the meantime. First, I'd like to start by thanking all of our meat buddies, but especially the ones who found out last week that Patreon has a messaging system after we talked about it last week with the other person forgetting about it. With Gabe not remembering. So now we have a couple more people to thank from a little while ago who've been donating for a bit. Today we're going to be talking about Richard. We'll talk more about Richard later in the show.
Rich.
But thanks, Rich, and everybody else. Thank you, Richard. I probably shouldn't default shorten your name. Thank you, Richard, and everybody else who supports the show. You can go to Metreon.com. Keep the show limping down the tracks like a ghost train that supports the union rights of the ghosts working on those tracks. And we appreciate everybody who supports the show. That was a topical reference.
Pro Ghost, Pro Union.
Pro Ghost, Pro Union. That's everything people say about our show all the time. Speaking of the news, let's kick it off in segment 1. The news. Before we go into other news, let's find out from our intrepid reporter, our news expert, Ezra, what's going on in donut news.
Oh, guys. So, yes, this is the donut news brought to you by the Krispy Kreme newsletter. Football has started, and football is a game with an edible, lumpy brown ball, and it looks delicious. That was the donut news.
Thank you so much, Ezra. Also this week, other news that we did not get from Ezra's subscription to the Krispy Kreme newsletter. Big film news week this week with TIFF happening and D23. A couple of quick things I want to talk about that. And then I want to get to the chess cheating with butt toys scandal. But first, out of TIFF, the sequel to Knives Out got shown and people like it. And I'm hugely relieved, you guys. I'm so excited about this. I was a little bit worried that it was, because it's so hard to do sequels, but a bunch of people saw Glass Onion and they said it is possibly better than the original, but everybody loved it.
I mean, if there's one, like the easiest type of sequel to do is the whodunit genre convention sequel, right? It's like,
it's perfect.
I'm going to put this character in a new mystery. It's literally Agatha Christie wrote hundreds of books based off that premise. You just take the character who solves the clues and you put them in a new clue. There's whole TV shows. That's like saying, "Oh, I was really worried the next episode of Columbo wasn't going to be good. The good first one. I don't know if they can do it again." It's the most slam dunk thing you could possibly do.
This is what it's like to watch Columbo with me. Every episode, I'm like, he did it again.
Wow.
I can't believe it. Columbo came through.
Surely they're out of ideas now, though.
Well, that's why Law and Order has to rip them from the headlines, because there's no good. You can't come up with new ideas. This is an original idea. There's no headlines. Ryan Johnson had to write this on his own.
It sucks that this is such a controversial thing to say on the internet now, but I think Ryan Johnson makes good movies. I don't give a fuck what anyone else says.
No, we've always been on the on that
yeah,
side of things, which makes us unpopular in the racist corners of the internet.
It's wild how much people think he doesn't. But yeah, I think he makes good movies. I like
only
his
dumb
movies.
people. Dum-dums. Also this week, D23, which is Disney's conference, which had too much news about too many things because they own more of Hollywood than they should be allowed to. But the important thing in my world is that they announced a sequel to the Disney Channel original movie about mummies from like 1997. Like, this is a deep sequel to a thing that no one saw. I had to watch this for a friend's podcast a little while back, and I didn't know it existed, and it is not available on Disney Plus until I believe they're going to roll it out for this. Like one of the six movies they didn't actually put on Disney Plus. It's such a weird.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, me neither. What are you talking about?
You're familiar with Disney.
Yeah.
You're familiar that they made original movies for the Disney Channel that were just 1 hour films.
Idiots. We just don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
No, for the record, I like that approach. I was really going to get it.
Yeah, those are helpful building blocks.
There's a film called Under Wraps. It came out in 1997. It was a Disney Channel original movie, and it was one of their least popular. And for some reason, they decided in the year of the Singer Lord 2022 that it was time to finally release. We're at what, 27 years later, 26 years later. They're like, people need to see what happens in Under Wraps 2.
Is that what it's called?
The title has not been released yet. It is still Under Wraps.
Don't say it. It would have been. You didn't even need to say that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was pretty good,
you brought us all the way to the door.
The title is still in a sarcophagus.
Oh, okay. Wait, I have badly misunderstood this.
Good.
They remade it last year, and then they're doing a sequel to the remake. Okay, this is not a sequel to the original 1997 one. There was a remake last year that I missed.
They remade it. Like, why?
That is also wild. Yeah, but now I have to figure out what the Under Wraps remake is. But I mean, still, the point is, the fact that they're making new mummy movies in 2022, and Ezra and I were not consulted, is deeply offensive. I feel like if anyone monopolized caring about mummies, it was us, and they didn't.
Yeah.
I've never seen this few reviews on an IMDb movie as Under Wraps 2021.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Okay, that's why they didn't air it on Disney Plus, is because they were doing a remake of it. Some kids accidentally revive a mummy and they name it Harold. Anyway, last thing I wanted to do. The other thing I wanted to do from these, I think this is out of D23 as well, but James Cameron showed some clips from Avatar, show that he can animate water mostly. That was what it was. And I was rereading the plot of the first one when I was reading about this, and I forgot that it was people wearing blue dinosaur costumes so that they could talk with aliens. And I just, even rereading the plot, I can't, you guys, I just can't. How is this still happening?
Because it's a good movie, and the second
it's not a good movie. It's a wildly bad movie.
Yeah.
Look, I'm going to fast forward this to a year from now, and you'll be like, you know what? I saw it because we know you're going to, and you're like, it was not as bad as I thought.
Yeah,
hey, that would be great. This is what I want. Yeah. This would be great news for me, because the original was worse than I expected. I came in expecting to love it, and it was very bad. It was very
not to love it. This is not going to be worse than Rush Hour 2.
No, I agree with that. Okay, and then quickly, in other news, did you guys have anything else from TIFF or D23 that you guys cared about?
I really liked Werewolf by Night trailer. I'm very excited that Michael Giacchino is directing what looks like a fun little B horror werewolf Marvel thing for Disney this year.
Oh wait, why is it Marvel?
Composer?
Because it's an MC. Yeah, Michael Giacchino, the guy who, if you don't know who he is, he's composed like every movie for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think
he is a composer.
He started on Lost. Yeah, he's an incredible composer. He did the Incredible soundtracks. He does a lot of Marvel stuff, a lot of Pixar stuff, a lot of Disney stuff in general. He's
I like
the heir apparent to John Williams. He does a lot of Star Wars stuff, a lot of stuff that John Williams used to do. Michael Giacchino's a really, really great film composer, and he's had a dream project, and he composed enough movies that they let him do this weird thing in the MCU.
Wait, you got to
And
direct?
Yeah.
Yes, he is
He wrote enough
directing it.
music that they were like, "Here, have a movie."
Yeah,
Good for him.
it looks really
That's
good. I
impressive.
think it looks exciting. I'm very, very happy for the guy. He's written some incredible music. I bet it's going to be really good.
I don't care for Marvelness of it, but I love a werewolf. I'm a B horror werewolf. I'm very into.
I feel like two things on this. One, we now know that I guess like the conversion rate of like composer credits to director credits, which is like 150 to 1, which is like not a good redemption rate. But also,
It's not, but you wouldn't want it to be less. You wouldn't want it to be like you wrote the score for this movie, direct another movie, because they're not comparable jobs.
Unless you're like John Carpenter, and which is a 1-to-1, because he composes all of his own music.
His own.
Yeah,
I think he's buying both of those at the same time with other credits. I don't know if he's actually switching them. But
like, look, give Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer has 150 credits. He's ready to cash in.
He's owed a movie.
Let's see that film. I want to see it.
Justice for him. We want to give him a movie. All right, and then lastly, really quick in the news this week, I think if you haven't seen this, you have to, which is the chess world has been rocked the last few weeks by a cheating scandal where Magnus Carlsen, the greatest chess player of probably all time, lost to a young man in a tournament and then immediately quit and tweeted that he is not allowed to say anything. And so everyone was like, oh, he thinks that kid cheated him. And then the story this week was the chess world believes that the kid cheated using a wirelessly connected vibrating anal bead. And that's how someone communicated to him what he needed to do. And what's great about this story, which you probably could, if you read the story,
and that's cheating. That's considered cheating. Anal beads.
Well, I feel like it's more distracting than anything else.
I believe it'd be somebody would be controlling them to vibrate in a certain pattern.
That's fine, but still,
give you information.
Oh my God. Can we greenlight a film about this caper right now? Why are we just standing here?
The sequel to Inside Out. It's called Inside Butt.
Inside Butt. That's so good.
This is the remake King's Gambit.
Oh yeah, Daddy's Gambit.
I think all three Daddy's Gambit. I believe all three of you would know this almost right away if you read these stories. But it is very clear what happened here, which is that there was in the chess Reddit, somebody made a joke that this is how he cheated, and then the Reddit community thought, let's all act like we think this is real. And then real adult news agencies started reporting that this is what was happening. And so no one actually believes you're back. No one actually believes that this is what happened. This is just this was a joke on Reddit that became the adult news industry's world's view of this.
You took it away from me.
You would have discovered it. Well, it's also possible they're giving out new ideas of how you could cheat.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing: someone's going to win this way, and someone did in the multiverse already. So,
you're right. That's how it works. Oh, I want to live in that universe.
I mean, you're right. I'd be open to it. It's a good idea.
There's
like,
butt
well, you want off the shelf wireless technology? Well, we've already invented that.
Wow, the bead whisperer.
He's deploying the butt defense. You can tell. Anyway, that is it for the news. All right, I guess we have to talk about this movie. I don't want to, but we're gonna do it.
Why?
It's time for segment 2 of the game.
Do you hear those sirens in the background?
It's the cops coming for us.
Yeah, they're like, don't talk about Rush Hour 2.
I think we should all. I think we're going to anyway, so I really don't need to say this, but I think we should all apply the same energy to this that Brett Ratner does to directing, which is just Brett Ratner, besides
acting
being
like we've got places to
shitty human being. No, yeah, Brett Ratner is like the only director in the world who every single one of his movies, you can feel in every frame him going, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Who gives a shit? I got things to do. Guys, I don't give a fuck. Let's just do this.
Yeah, let's just do this.
Every single one of his frames.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw this in the Wikipedia, but the original title Rush Hour was named after how much energy went into writing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spent about an hour.
Rush 1 hour.
It's so fun. It's so weird. Like odd juxtaposition between like this trilogy of Brett Ratner's incredibly lazy, um, you know, scumbag living embodiment of cocaine, directing style versus meeting the infamously hardworking, super precise Jackie Chan stunt team work style and workflow that goes into those movies, and the sort of push and pull. I mean, this movie in particular, the first one feels more like a movie. This movie is absolutely Jackie Chan and the Jackie Chan stunt team went to Brett Ratner and a screenwriter and said, here's 10 fight scenes we have planned out for other movies that we didn't do.
Look, we bought 42 reclining chairs. Figure out a movie around these.
Yeah, and it's just like, these are scenes that were cut from other movies. So this is what we have. Build a script with it. I mean, Jackie Chan, like, famously, especially, around this time, he's famous for doing, 12-hour days to get a single shot, right? To make sure he can do like an incredibly elaborate stunt or something really simple, like kicking a shoe and then spinning around and landing on someone's feet, right? Like that takes 12 hours, and he does it hundreds of times. And you see that kind of energy and attention to detail in like 4 sequences in this movie, and then everything else is just Brett Ratner being like, guys, this let's just do this. I got places to be.
And it's like do. What would Brett Ratner be doing? Like if you paused during one of the Jackie Chan fight scenes and asked, what is Brett Ratner doing right now? The answer is obviously absolutely nothing. Like,
I mean, he'd almost certainly be assaulting somebody. That's the only thing he would do during the breaks.
He's at craft services, planning,
being a scumbag.
He's plotting right now.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, this week we're watching Rush Hour 2, Back in the Habit, the 2001 American buddy comedy, buddy cop action movie directed by Brett Ratner and written by Jeff Nathanson in about an hour, a sequel to the 1998 film Rush Hour 1. It's starring Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, and for our purposes, Gianni Russo, who made a cameo as a pit boss in one of the casino scenes briefly. And we traveled here via him from our episode last week, where he also appeared in Chances Are, the other very memorable movie that we've watched on this like ungodly journey where you guys have.
Which one does he have more lines in? Like, how many lines did he actually have in Chances Are? Did he actually say anything? I didn't even notice
him. Or did he
just I would say probably total, he's got to have the fewest lines of anyone in the 2 movies that we've traveled through, right?
Yeah.
Well, because there was somebody who was like just on a dock waving, but she had a lot of lines in the other movie. But this one,
that was Angelica Houston in is only a
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest
cameo in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
But she talked a lot in the other movie. This one, he doesn't talk much in either movie. So
he had like some additional voices from Lion King though that we moved on that might have also been pretty sparse.
That's true. That's true.
I don't think he actually said. Did he actually say anything in Chances Are, or was he just photographed and sits quietly in a courtroom?
No, I think he did say something in Chances Are. I think he
was
said
the
more
mob
things
boss, right?
He actually had like kind of a scene.
I think he had a scene before the guy died. Anyway,
because he's not in the future.
We moved this way because Anthony wanted to. So Anthony, you lucked out on the draw last week. Please tell us why you have selected.
This is all Anthony's fault.
Why have you selected the movie Rush Hour 2? Anthony, who is dedicated among more than anyone else with making sure we watched exclusively good films this year. Why did you pick Rush Hour 2?
Because the classics never go out of style. I thought about, all the other movies we could have watched. Paper Moon, a lot of other good stuff that we could have done from the last one.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need some middling Jackie Chan in my life. Like, I remember when I was 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, somewhere in that state of mind, that age, and I saw Rumble in the Bronx. I saw it at a friend's house. He said, "Hey man, check this shit out," and he showed me Rumble in the Bronx, and it was too good. It was too pure, right? It was too strong too awesome, like too powerful, pure Jackie Chan, and I want my Jackie Chan stomped on. I want to like bad coke you buy.
I would like
Some
my
weird,
Jackie
sketchy
Chan to be
dealer.
half baking soda if possible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I love the Rush Hour movies, because it's like all the magic of Jackie Chan, but like just stepped on with a bunch of shit.
I mean, this is going to be the main thing that I want to talk about, but he really is still kind of magical in this absolute horseshit garbage pile of a movie when Jackie Chan jumps through the casino cage.
That's so
That's
impressive.
great.
I mean,
that's the best thing that happens in the whole movie is that casino cage
It's
thing.
not framed very well, but the stunt at the very
Brett was
end,
busy at the time, but yeah.
The
final
is...
stunt when they do the jump out the window, fall 80 feet, swing down, and spin around a pole, and that's actually all done in one
You couldn't
take.
feel that, though. You couldn't feel it at all. It looked like nothing.
Yeah.
It's legitimately an incredibly amazing stunt to watch be done. And
Ezra's
like,
offering us the YouTube for think about every frame painting episode about Jackie Chan.
This is the thing I loved about so every frame painting was amazing when they did this, like how Jackie Chan does action comedy, and like they had the difference basically between I think you're right, you're saying like how in the non-American movies Jackie Chan frames up the basically his shots, so you see everything kind of like happening like from much more from the wide, and you really can see like he is doing all parts of it, and it's it's so much more close and cuts in tight because I think you're saying like American directors are used to working with people who cannot actually fight, and so they really have to cut around it. And so like Jackie can do everything.
But why would you be cutting around Jackie Chan? Like, why would you go through all the trouble of working with Jackie Chan and then not let him do his thing? It's so crazy to me.
Because Brett Ratner's not going to do 12 hours on a single shot, right? American productions aren't going to allow him to do that, right? And the other big thing is like
Jackie can do it. Don't do anything, Brett Ratner. Just go home.
I'm sure Jackie has an opinion of it.
Trailer.
I mean, Jackie Chan directs most of his own movies for this reason, so he can have this type of control. But I mean, I think that's like one of the things that's so like kind of fascinating about like sort of this movie and this like time in Jackie's life is the way American studios and especially filmmakers like Brett Ratner. There are exceptions. There are like, talking about James Cameron. I'm a big fan of James Cameron. It's something I think he does really well. Is his action isn't just ever action. It is like storytelling within the action. You get so much. And that's like, if you really watch a lot of Jackie Chan's movies, that's like the thing he does so well is he doesn't just like have cool fight scenes. The story is being progressed throughout the action. Mad Max Fury Road is a great example of that in the West. Yeah. But in America, most of the time, just like the plot stops entirely, and then an action scene happens, and then the plot picks back up. But there are a few sequences in this one, especially like the massage parlor fight, where you get story happening and character development happening throughout the fight. And like that is like the stuff that Jackie Chan does so well and really brings to a movie like this, So
we're going to come back to this because I do want to talk more about it. It's literally the only thing I care about in this awful time you've put us through, Anthony. But to clarify for the listeners at home, the reason you made us watch this is because you switched allegiances. You switched allegiances from watching good movies to making this show, like to only destroying my chances of success. You've just moved all three of you equally ahead and put me out of the contention for this game.
For the record, Alex, I just want to say, we don't have to talk about the movie. You know what I mean? We've watched it. We've done our duty. You know what I mean? We can talk about whatever. We got, we got like 35 minutes. We could talk about whatever we want. We don't have to talk about Rush Hour 2. All we had to do was watch it. I don't remember anyone saying anything about us having to talk about
never
it.
speak of this again.
We do have a couple of things we have to do.
To me, this is you got to spend money to make money type of thing. All right? And it's not just the points. I legitimately, as long as Ezra and Hunter, you guys both do what the deal was, we have 2 very good weeks of movies coming up.
Oh my God, wait. Imagine if I just moved to Rush Hour 1 after this.
Hey,
it's available to you.
Rush Hour 1 is an actual good
I've never
movie.
seen Rush Hour 1.
Rush Hour 3.
It would give me the information I need to understand this movie, perhaps.
You guys know, have any of you seen Rush Hour 3?
Yeah,
I've never seen
definitely
it.
did.
Do you know who plays because they go to Paris because you got to do something new with the movie, and because these movies are just fancy vacations for the cast at that point. It's one of those like
and sponsored by the Tourist Bureau.
Yeah, so in Rush Hour 3, to kind of give you a head of what kind of dude Brett Ratner is, scumbags like to stick together. So what Brett Ratner does is he casts a little a filmmaker named Roman Polanski.
Oh my god!
In Rush Hour 3. So Rush Hour 3 is Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker, and Roman Polanski palling around France.
I'm not gonna watch this movie.
What the third Rush Hour movie is. It is
Rush Hour 3. I'm not gonna watch it. I'll say I did.
So we do have a minimum amount about the movie we have to talk about, and
all right, fine. Go ahead.
Let me just do it really quick. Okay,
I'll speed run it. Any percent.
Let me give you the patented Alex Falcone 3-beat micro summary of this movie. A horny racist and a great fake martial artist, possibly the greatest fake martial artist of all time, take a culturally insensitive journey across Hong Kong, LA, and Las Vegas. Along the way, they stop a crime ring, I think. Despite nonstop sexual tension and obvious chemistry, they never hook up. That's the movie. That is Rush Hour 2.
Did you actually just call Jackie Chan a fake martial artist?
Yeah,
I said he's the greatest fake martial artist of all time. He may also be a good real. Hang on, he may also be a good real martial artist, but he is the best ever at pretending to do martial arts.
Real martial artist, but best fake martial artist.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, even then, he's not the greatest fake martial artist.
Well, they might but they're trying not to hit each other. So he is trying to be a fake martial artist. He's doing movie martial arts. It's not the same.
All right.
Jackie Chan may be like the greatest martial arts stuntman of all time.
Sure, potato. I'm saying this is the same compliment I'm giving him.
Anthony, you got to remember, this is where Alex likes to put in all the corruption. You know what I mean? You got to let Alex define it however he wants to. I think the audience knows at this point that he puts his thumb on the scale.
I know zero things about Jackie Chan's record in the Olympics. I don't know anything about his professional martial arts career. I do know a little tiny bit about his fake martial arts career, and I know that he is the best ever at it.
Anyway, I think you're kind of just sleeping on a lot of other great Asian film stars and action stars.
That's very possible. I said
the Jet Lees, the Bruce Lees.
I said possibly. I covered my bases so clearly on this so that you couldn't nitpick. Okay, but let's talk about Jackie Chan.
Actually, though, I just want to say for the record, I watched a lot of Hong Kong cinema, and I actually agree with that statement. I think Jackie Chan is the greatest of them all, the best one.
Okay, so I said I know a very tiny bit, and that is true. I know almost nothing about Jackie Chan, and I was just looking at my letterbox. I cannot figure out a Jackie Chan movie that I've seen. I don't think I've seen a straight up Jackie Chan movie except this, which is not a good.
Did you see Kung Fu Panda?
I did not even see Kung Fu Panda.
None of them? There's 3.
Not one of them. So this is very dumb level response to this. But this movie, everything that they say is so awful. But Jackie Chan is really fun to watch.
Yeah.
So can I just watch him do barrel rolls over chairs and punch bamboo without having it be this horrible racist movie?
There's lots of movies like that.
That's his entire career in Hong Kong.
Absolutely.
What should I watch instead? Because I hated this but it made me want to watch a bunch of Jackie Chan movies.
Oh my god. Drunken Master, Super Cop, Rumble in the Bronx.
Okay, you gotta see the ending of Police Story. The ending of that movie is
my god.
Okay, so instead of giving me 10 movies, what is the one that I should see? Where should I start?
It doesn't work like that, Alex. You literally should just watch
I can't watch the end of Police Story at the same time as I watch Drunken Master.
Yeah.
There's any Jackie Chan movie made from the early 80s to through probably the mid 90s is going to do you just fine. Literally, you could throw a dart at one and it's going to have something awesome in it.
It looks like, according to Letterboxd, the most popular movie of his that is a real movie of his is Police Story. That's
Police Story.
Top one. And then Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Watch Police Story.
Above that is 3 Kung Fu Pandas and Rush Hour.
He is up there. He's very much. I mean, it is. We talk a lot about Tom Cruise on this podcast, and they're very interesting to sort of compare their careers in terms of both the sort of people with very odd personal life and weird politics that they're involved with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Oh, is
they are
Jackie
like
Chan suck?
autistic. Well, he doesn't. He's the Chinese government has done very right by Jackie Chan, and he's gonna do very right by them, sort of no matter what, right? He's
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I won't even be sort of halfway
Yeah.
about this. Like he
Yeah.
came out against the Hong Kong protests. Like fuck Jackie Chan's politics.
Yeah.
Like I'm not with that shit
But
at all.
that was a good explainer,
Yes.
Anthony. A good simple
Yeah.
way to
Yes.
explain
But
that.
that's what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
That
It's weird because
Okay.
he didn't used to be this way. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like at some point the government got to him or something. I don't really understand, but he switched at some point.
Yeah, but he's older. He's much more reactionary now, and he has been given a lot of access to do stuff there, and has a vested interest in continuing to support the power structures there, so he can keep making his movies there, right?
Sure.
But Jackie Chan is one of those guys who, and it's not just him. Like I referenced earlier, the Jackie Chan stunt team is kind of like infamous in
Tell me about that.
cinema.
What does that mean?
Well, it's like he's not an island to himself. He has a team that he's worked with for basically his entire career of people he's handpicked. They're in all of his movies. It's if you watch Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2 and Rush Hour 3, you will literally see the same goons in all 3 movies because they're in all of his movies. So he has
they're like his trained stunt team.
Yes, they're his stunt team,
support.
and they work together, and they plan out together, and it's always him doing the main stunts, but it is like they have a very he has a very specific way he likes to work. He works at a very specific tempo and speed, and has all this shorthand that he needs to be able to communicate. So and that's another thing, the difference between sort of the way Jackie Chan makes movies and how movies in Hong Kong are made or China versus movies in the West. In the West, you have a lot of day players. You have stuntmen come in. They will most of the time learn the stuff on the day or maybe a few days before or something. But Jackie, he has too much shorthand, too much tempo and speed he works at, that he needs these people to be here every day working with him on these things. And
Interesting.
If you look at some of the stunts, you get a small bit of it here in this movie, but if you look at some of the stunts he does, there's a famous one of him sliding down a giant pole that's surrounded in Christmas lights, or in this movie when he's running up the bamboo or stuff like that, or the stunt at the end, like I said, when they fall 80 feet and swing around a pole, the precision and everything that has to happen for that to work. You just have to have people you really trust and people you really know and people who kind of are able to work at your level of competence. It's very much like Tom Cruise in that way, that he just, if you're going to especially put yourself on the line to want to entertain people this much, you need everyone else to be at your level 100% of the time, or something bad will happen, right?
Yeah.
So it's just highly competent super professionals working really, really hard. And the Jackie Chan stunt team are called literally the Jackie Chan stunt team, and they're famous in Eastern cinema for
I mean, you've
what they
I'm
work on,
100% sold on this. It is weird. It's a weird blank spot in my film memory that have not. I've seen movies where he's briefly in them, but I've not seen a Jackie Chan movie. And
it's fun to watch stuff
I'm gonna
some
do
of
it.
his American
Super
movies, or
watchable.
stuff like Rumble in the Bronx, where he's supposed to be fighting Americans or white people. So you will see in the close-up him fighting a white guy, and then the wide shot is him clearly fighting a Chinese man because they just switch out for his stunt team guy.
Oh,
and then
that's
they
funny.
do the close-up of the white guy. So you will notice the clothes fit really well on the American actors, and then in the wide they're really baggy because it's just a short Chinese man in the same clothes. You'll see that kind of stuff a lot through Jackie Chan's filmography.
If you want more Jackie Chan, also, I remember loving Never Grow Up, which was a memoir they did a couple years ago. If you want to read more about sort of his early days, he started I think as a 6-year-old in the China Drama Academy, which is a pretty intense training place and pretty abusive, I think. And then it talks about a stunt team also and goes through different stuff. So Never Grow Up. If you want to get deep into the Jackie Chan lore stuff, it's pretty cool.
Oh, it's very cool. Okay, here's my question then. My next question about Jackie Chan, which is, I don't like fighting. I'm not big. I'm against hitting as a rule. I don't think people should hit people. Is there an other skill set is there another thing we could put his particular skill set to use? Is there what could we have Jackie Chan solve that you need a lot of barrel rolls and a lot of chair flips that's not fighting?
You can just watch him jumping off shit into other shit.
Yeah,
which is a huge pose of his movies as well.
A lot of the best stunts are actually just kind of sick jumps, to be honest. Like that's where it gets really, really gnarly.
All right, I like that.
There's a really cool movie from early on in his career that's about like hacky sack. Like the sort of hacky sack as is played in like sort of China, where it's like it's soccer but hacky sack.
Sure.
Right? And there's a really great movie in which he they do that, and that was like 3 days to get every shot because things are so precise. Like for a single shot, it took him 3 days of every day working on it. I mean, that's one of the things about if you watch his movies, you can just like I said, not only do you get that there's so much great storytelling happening in the action, but you see him do stuff and you think about like the precision and how long that must have taken to get every single one of those shots.
Are you talking about Dragon amazing. Lord from 1982?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, you can,
Jackie Chan famously like uses everything, in a fight, and so just a really good demolition, like one person demolition. Crew,
that's true. Yeah, because he'll just grab a tray or pull off a piece of bamboo.
Everything is messed up when he's done with it. So
that's solid.
Yeah, it's so creative and folk and like he's just a really one of a kind performer.
Yeah. Okay. Now. So I think we've covered Rush Hour 2. I have to do a quick round of Alexi's, my tiny compliment for things that I did not hate. The one writing bit that I liked in this whole movie was that the only way you can tell the fake money from real money is that you have to burn it, and it's a different color fire. Awesome writing idea. It never matters. It's
briefly they talk with Don Cheadle.
I know. When they talk to John Cheadle, he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And that's it. I mean, it was clearly a setup for something where he would like try to burn some money, and then someone would fight him right there, and it would be a huge problem.
Right.
This kind of throws away, but a great premise, a great little bit of premise.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Well,
also the outtakes were solid, and it takes. I got almost done. The outtakes are very fun, and
the bloopers
takes a particularly bad movie for the bloopers to be better than the movie, but they were 100% better than this movie.
Well, that is also, as someone who hasn't seen a lot of Jackie Chan movies, that is a staple of almost all Jackie Chan movies.
Is it really? He always shows himself not getting through the casino cage?
Yeah.
On the first try?
It's not just bloopers, but it's the stunts going wrong. Or
you get to see those. You always get to see those.
Yeah, to get a sense of how many times they will do the same thing over and over and over again. He really wants to kind of have the audiences be aware of that. So that's in almost all of his movies as well.
I love
during
that.
the
That's
end
good
credits, they do like bloopers.
I also did like when Chris took a phone call and then let the person on the other end of the phone talk to Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was good.
Seems like a very professional set, this movie. Definitely a lot of everyone else really
kind of sucks, but
working at that level of him.
Also, this is how far I had one compliment from the movie, one from the outtakes, and then two from my wiki hole about the movie. But apparently some of that fake money, the fake money, was so realistic that extras stole it and tried to spend it. But not realistic enough that they didn't get caught. They got caught. They got hella caught. And then the Secret Service actually came and had to burn all of their fake money. And
it was what color?
I don't know because it's not real. Also, apparently the premiere of Rush Hour 2. Do you guys know this one? Not in a theater. It was not in one of those famous red. What?
Plane?
Yeah, it was on United Airlines Flight 1 from Los Angeles to Hong Kong. That was the debut, which is, two things. One, the movie is really just paid for as an advertisement for Hong Kong and Las Vegas, probably. And then two, this is the quality of movie that a premiere on an airplane feels right. Yeah. It's like a perfect place for it.
Straight to airplanes, actually.
Yeah. Before it ever played in theaters, it debuted on a United Airlines flight. So this does seem like a seat back kind of movie.
Yeah. I agree.
Have you ever been on a plane and you saw somebody watching a movie that you didn't know what it was and you tried to figure it out over their shoulder? Like you had to be like, all right, this is happening.
I'm nosy as hell.
Yeah,
It's fun. It's a fun game. It's sort of like that game you guys
I just reach
play.
over and
It's
grab
framed.
one of the headphones and put it on my ear and be like,
just
"Oh,
straight
can I
steal
listen?"
it and then get your own ear goo on it. Nice.
Yeah.
yummy.
There
Just lick
was.
it.
I'm generally pretty successful at it, but I did watch one movie with it was a horror movie with somebody kidnapping a family, and and they were wearing some sort of animal costume, and it was clearly German, and it was like really gnarly, and I did not figure out what that was.
How would you know it was German if you couldn't hear it?
You could see it.
You guys look German to me.
It looked super German.
Yeah,
it looked German.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It could have been.
Alex,
it could have been Scandinavian.
With that.
He was a lot of blonde hair. It looked.
I don't know if I want to Google animal kidnapping horror movie.
You don't.
I'm gonna do it.
I learned this already. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
Don't want.
Type all the gnarliest keywords.
Is
you
it
got.
The Farm? That's what came up.
I mean, Alex, go back in time, find that guy, and ask him if it was The Farm. We need to know.
Right.
Ezra, if you just solve this in 2 seconds.
I don't know. Or Pet, maybe.
No, it's not. It's not Farm. Although this looks gnarly. I hate this.
Nocturnal Animals. There's a lot of bad movies out there, guys, that I don't want.
All right. I hate. Does anybody have anything you want to say about Rush Hour 2?
I know you already did the plot summary, but can we actually talk through the plot of this movie for just a few minutes? Because that thing of what I was saying of Brett Ratner, every time someone came up to him with an issue or something, just like, what are you fucking nerd? Get out of my face, right?
Yeah.
Just that. But okay, so the movie opens with a bomb exploding in the embassy, killing 2 ambassadors that are really undercover Secret Service agents or some shit like that. All right. They think that this mobster who used to be a cop and then apparently, it's a great ad for being a mobster because I've seen where Jackie Chan lives in this universe and I've seen where this mobster lives, and the money's clearly much better. But this guy. They think it's this guy.
We do have. It does sound nice, Anthony, but my wife and I do have a family rule: never to join the mob.
Oh
so
well, I mean that's how you get killed. I'm just saying that's what this movie shows. It's
by not joining the mob.
For you. Yeah, that's what happened to his dad.
Survives.
Yeah. Well, he's Jackie. Are you Jackie Chan, Alex? Do you think you were
Jackie Chan?
No,
that's true. I'm not Jackie Chan.
So it's this mobster. They track him to like a casino bar, and then Chris Tucker goes up and does the same exact song somebody else just did at a casino bar, which is very rude. But
you mean karaoke?
It's just weird. It's just a weird thing to do. You know,
rude.
like
Also,
let it go.
He's watching karaoke and yelling "boo" at the quality of the singer. As
karaoke.
He expects a minimum level of professionalism at karaoke.
Here's the thing: as we crap on Brett Ratner, Chris Tucker did not know he was being filmed during the Michael Jackson impersonation. Actually, he was just entertaining the crew, and he did not want to do a Michael Jackson impersonation. And Brett Ratner was like, "Okay, no problem," and then just like tells the crew, "All right, guys, film it while he does this."
Wow.
Wait, I can't tell if I like that or I hate that. It does
not
cool because you're charming
because
you're
talented one
for him saying no.
Yeah, so the talent didn't want to do this, and the other thing was, I think Brett Ratner really pushed to call Z Zhang the B word, and Chris Tucker also did not want to do that, and Brett Ratner was like, no, we need this as well, and I feel like it's a gross feel.
Okay, good, because I did not get a good feeling about Chris Tucker from watching this movie or its bloopers, and maybe I like him a little more now that I know he
can't imagine he is the worst person to work on this movie.
Yeah,
there's no way.
It's
no way.
For a movie that is so heavily like obviously paid for by the sort of like Hong Kong and Hong Kong Tourist Board. There's so many references to Japan made in China that it's very, very weird. They're constantly talking about Japanese food and referring to it as Chinese
it's like he
food.
has no idea what the difference.
This is one joke is that Chris Tucker is a little bit racist. That's the main joke of the movie.
I would
Every
say
joke comes back to that.
It's emphasized over and it's like the only joke the movie has.
It's not the only joke. There was briefly some homophobic stuff with Jeremy Piven, but mostly it was
he also
about Chris Tucker's
sniffs
character
the lady and wants to fuck her while he's fighting her, which is, I guess, funny as well.
Oh, yeah, he's also extremely horny. Yeah, you're like, okay, so the joke is Jackie Chan is incredible at martial arts, and the other character is a horny racist. Go.
Who is very, very confident in himself. But, okay, so, like, the whole thing with like, okay, they go on this boat, and when he thinks Chris Tucker died because a bomb exploded, but like they didn't find a body, so they were like, whatever. That's kind of the logic happens in movies all the time. But the bad guy fakes dying by being shot off a boat for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what was that to like throw the Secret Service off, and then
I don't
casino
understand the relationship with the Secret Service to any of this. It doesn't make sense.
It all leads to like this big casino opening that goes south within 10 minutes of being open. Like, even if they didn't show up, everything still would have fallen apart. There's just like, I don't know. Like, I remember liking this movie when I was younger because I loved Jackie Chan stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So this was like, what is it? Stepped on Jackie Chan stuff, but it was still Jackie Chan stuff. But I just remember like the plot being so much more coherent and flowing as a kid. And watching this now, I was just shocked at how little the A to B to C makes sense, or
it is
even attempt to be
absolute
justified.
Mess. It is just a shit show, A to B to C. Just so little effort is put into that making sense. Yeah, it's wild. I will also put for the record, this is the first time that you guys have said, I really wish there was more plot in your summary.
Yeah.
Wish there's more plot in the movie that made sense.
The longest vote for more plot heavy summary from next week. I'm going to give you a 32-point summary.
Good luck with that.
Please.
I mean, it is like, so like the first one is like a real movie from what I remember. I also haven't seen that in a long time.
I'm
but
afraid
I remember
to
the first
rewatch
one,
that one also.
Yeah,
being much more of an actual film. And this is something, the sequel to me is like, I remember reading I forget what critic it was, but talking about like movies as like a stew. And a lot of times when they make a sequel, because like, is like a stew, everything you have to have the right amount of ingredients for a stew to be good. And a lot of times what happens with the sequels is people will be like, oh, I really love this spice in that stew. So the sequel, they just put a shit ton of that spice and it ruins it. This movie really, I think, is a good example of like that stew metaphor of like they took the feedback and the things people really liked. Chris Tucker being at an 11, like 60% of the time in the first one. Like, well, people love that spice, so we really need to step it up. The casual racism, we really need to step it up. Like all this.
Yeah.
This is such a good example of just like everything the first one did, but just turned up and way spicier.
Yeah.
And it just
so
falls
many
apart.
callback jokes.
Yeah.
There's so many callback jokes, and it does the thing where they do a callback joke and they leave a little bit of dead air afterwards because you're laughing so hard right now. We can't even be saying anything. Yeah. Literally, it happens. And I've never seen the first Rush Hour movie, so I noticed this happening early on, and I'm like, I do not know the original joke that they are playing off of. So this is just not funny at all.
The first line of this movie is a callback. The Beach Boys thing is a callback to the first movie.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about that.
Of this movie is a callback to the first one, right? And it's just, instead of Chris Tucker saying, "Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?" Jackie Chan says it this time. It's all flips and everything, right? It's so just repeating and doing the same things again.
We've got some more work to do. I'm super done with this, but we actually have in the master list, which is the next thing we're going to do, the business. We got to rank this movie in the best movies of all time of season 5. And we actually have a pretty competitive bottom 5 now. There's actually kind of a dogfight down there for 26th place. So where is Rush Hour 2 from 2001 going to fall on the best movies of all time? I'll give you the bottom 5.
Yeah.
Somewhat unjustly, Soylent Green, A Girl with Character, which again we did not have any words to.
But
Chances Are, which we watched last week, and I enjoyed portions of. Shrek, which is either the best movie ever or the worst movie ever, and we decided to be cowards and make it 28th, or the Transformers.
You decided.
Not me.
You decided.
Not me.
No. I'm pretty sure that was Ezra.
Yeah,
Ezra
decided.
This place is playing where it is. All right.
Anyway, that's the bottom 5. So
this
where do you
movie's
put
worse than Shrek and Transformers. I
agree.
Number 1 with a bullet. This is the worst movie on the list.
Yes.
Hunter, you think so
Transformers
too?
the movie has its day. Yeah, put it at the bottom. I wasn't even gonna put it at the bottom of the list. I was actually gonna put it like I don't know because it does have some cool Jackie Chan.
No, I mean
stunts
you
and
have
stuff
to
Yeah.
put it where you think
but-
it should go.
Yeah.
No, I'm putting it at the bottom. I don't care. I'll be meta.
All right.
I want. This is about Transformers. This isn't about Rush Hour 2. I don't even know what that movie is. I didn't even watch it.
So all three of you are saying you're putting it after 29. You're putting it bottom of the list.
I think this is like so much more problematic than I think the other bottom 5.
Yeah, especially Transformers,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I love Jackie Chan, but like I really can't abide by this, and the fact that also if a person who's probably not a great person made a whole bunch of money off this as well. That's equally problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that part
Mhm.
because it's definitely in terms of like watchability, it's a mile above the Transformers the movie. Because
Agreed.
Jackie Chan jumps
Agreed.
through a hole. Like there are parts of this that are worth watching.
That one part.
There's literally
Yeah, it's
no
pretty cool.
scene in the
It's a
Transformers
good
the
hole
movie
jump. It's real good.
that I would watch again. It is clearly worse than Shrek, but the idea of Brett Ratner getting my money bothers me so much.
Yeah.
So all three of you are ranking at 29.5. I think so. Fortunately, this is going to be easier on me. I think it probably the right place is 28.5. If we take into consideration Brett, it's worse. But it does not matter. If I put it 28 or 29, either way, it's going to be the same outcome. This is the worst movie we've ever watched. Rush Hour 2 is the official 30th best movie, aka the worst movie of all time of season 5.
What's
This will be tough to dethrone.
Yeah,
It
what's
is
the
going to be tough
number
to
one
beat. And we
movie
have
on
to
our
be
list?
universal. The number one movie on the list is Apollo 13 from 1995.
Oh,
And then there's a bunch of weird meta stuff above it, but that's the best movie.
Third
on
Man.
there.
What is the
I think
number
it's the
Third
one?
Third
Man
Man still.
is still number one, and Edge
Third
of
Man.
Tomorrow is number 2.
So
and then
I
Lion
have
King.
number 1 and first place and last place were both my suggestions, correct? Because that's
all right. That's kind of fun.
I
to
said
read that way.
earlier in this year that was my goal to end this year with
Oh
Was
my
it
God.
top and
one
bottom?
and the top and bottom. So I'm
Interesting.
very happy with that.
Congrats. Hold that.
Ezra, yours was Edge of Tomorrow,
Yeah, mine was Edge of Tomorrow.
and I picked Lion King. So we got the top 3, and then
nice.
who picked Transformers the movie? Was that you?
Me.
Ez? Oh, that was Hunter.
No.
Of course, it was me.
It was a move, right? We're trying to.
Yeah, of course it was a move, and I picked Shrek. So I've got the third best and the third worst. So I've got the slightly less strong version of yours, Anthony.
I mean, look, there's only 4 of
okay.
us. We're all gonna have something. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
Well, the game is over for me, so I might have to figure out a new meta game that I want to play. Speaking of which, it's time to pick the next movie. Ezra, you're up. I still cannot stop you guys on your power move as a group. Ezra,
Yes.
what is the next movie? What are we watching
Let's
next
do
week?
it.
We're moving. We're not moving via Jackie Chan to Rush Hour 3.
Well, you could move via Jackie Chan to one of the 3 Jackie Chan movies I just put at the top of my queue.
That would be great. No. We came so close, and my movie is right on the precipice. So we're moving via Zhang. And I never know if it should be pronounced Zhang Ziyi or Ziyi Zhang, but via her to Hero, which is my pick. So
Yes.
this is a scoring
Can we
move.
also just mention how wasted she is in this movie?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Drunk
just,
or underutilized?
no,
not
just
used, not
underutilized.
utilized.
Just as like a femme fatale ass kicker who says like 4 things and then shows up with a bomb for some. She's mostly here
That
to
was
kick
wild.
people in the face and then be sexually harassed by Chris Tucker. That's really
right.
the only thing she's in this movie
And-
for.
It's
I
such
did
a
like when she
cop-out
kicked
also
him in
the
the
way
face,
he,
though.
What's that?
I did like when she kicked him in the face.
It was good
Yeah.
face kicking, but it's a cop out the way he beats her. I think he like accidentally like a spear accidentally hits her. Basically, is kind of like
Yeah.
how that happens,
Right,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
she
And-
rage quits basically with
Yeah.
with the bomb.
What? What casino are they going to let open if you can just literally grab a sword off a statue in the lobby and start stabbing people with
so
it?
she
Really
stabs him
problematic.
with the sword, and he does not get killed. And then they were like, "Oh, it's because he had a ton of money in his pocket." But it could have been because there was a display sword and not good for stabbing. Like that was a perfectly reasonable out. But they were like, "No, it's the."
No, it was a good
Anyway,
sword.
um,
That place really a bit lack safety standards.
Bad safety standards, great swords.
Yeah.
So wait, so we're moving via Zhang Zia.
Zhang Ziyi, yeah.
Ziyi, and we're moving
Two.
to Hero from 2002, which was your pick.
Hell yeah.
And this is pretty different, I think, from what came before. So
I am definitely excited. We just being in this 2-week self-inflicted drought has been a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch both of your movies now. I'm not looking forward to.
Maybe while we're here, we may as well pick up a few other movies, though. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't
Well,
have to all be about
we might
touring
have to
right
because it
now.
might be hard to get out of this loop too.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know,
we might get kind of pushed into just a series of Hong Kong movies. Although, I've got big plans. Okay,
also I'm going to say this is probably in terms of effort a director puts into things might be the biggest gap from one movie to the next. Like this director, like
I'm glad no one gave the power card move via directorial effort.
Yeah.
So Yimou Zhang, like just wild. Like you like just the amount of work puts on the screen is insane. So
unless Alex has some sort of evil card to play to interrupt the ongoing thing, this is kind of fun. So cinematographer for Hero is the same cinematographer for Happy Together.
Oh, I'm very excited about that then.
Yeah. And he's my favorite cinematographer. He's the best of all time. Everybody else sucks.
Other people could be good too. I mean,
it doesn't have to be exclusive. It's not a zero-sum game.
Only good cinematography. Nope, that's how I am with my opinions.
Well, I'm excited to watch Hero next week. Before we go, we have one more order of business. We got a new Meat Buddy to thank.
Woohoo!
Heck yeah.
A reminder, you can join our Patreon. You can go to Metreon.com and you can become a Meat Buddy. Don't ask why it's called that. It's been a long time. I don't even remember at this point. But Meat Buddies help keep the show going through their financial support on Patreon. And we have a new Meat Buddy. And by that, I mean, I believe 3 months ago. But Richard finally, when I reminded everybody last week that this exists, Richard responded to my questionnaire that I give you via Patreon when you sign up. So Richard, this is Richard from Charlotte, and Richard says, first off, thank you, Gabe, for letting the world know to check the messages on here. I also did not know you don't get notified by email. So here's my question for the segment. If the movies you've watched so far this season were available as a menu, what would each of your 4-course meal be? What movies would make up your 4-course meal? A starter, maybe a cocktail, a main, and dessert.
I need to see the list. You gotta post the list here. I can't. It's too many movies.
Have part of it.
My head.
You can just look at the website list of episodes. It's pretty public. Anyway, just to give you Richard's version, he says, I'd start with Princess Diaries, followed by an In the Cut on the Rocks, a rare Good, Bad, Ugly, and then an Iron Giant a la mode to finish things off. Now I'm actually hungry. Anyway, love you guys. Keep up the good work. So what do you guys think? Thank you so much, Richard. What do you guys think is the correct answer? How would you split these up into a meal?
Well, I was gonna say In the Cut for like that. I 100% agree that In the Cut is the cocktail. But I'll
I don't
come
know
up with
that every 4-course meal is a starter and a cocktail. I don't know if that's how most menus go.
I thought that's how we were doing it. You know,
I mean, this is Richard's rule. So we're also eating at Richard's house, I guess, for this, and this is what Richard is going to serve. But yeah, if one of the requirements is a cocktail, that's definitely got to be one of the cocktails.
Yeah.
It's tempting to take this a little bit literally then, and say that my main is going to be Soylent Green. For the protein content.
I like that.
I mean,
and I think a lot of the time an appetizer is there's a fish course, so I'm going to start with Life Aquatic.
Yeah. I'm going to go Shrek, and Shrek. I'm going nice all the time, baby. 4-course meal of Shrek.
Shrek the first course, Shrek the second course, Shrek the third
course.
No,
not the sequels. I'm just the first one. It's over and over again, just repeating. Just shove it in my
gullet. I like the good, the bad, the ugly, but historically, for those of you who've watched a lot of Top Chef, you don't really want to do an entree 3 ways. You're just going to get yourself in trouble. Focus on just the good or just the bad or just the ugly.
How about Edge of Tomorrow, but you start it for all 4, but you start them at different points, right? So like it's just all overlapping at the same time.
Edge of Tomorrow, the buffet, so you can go back and keep tasting different things each time until you've tested everything.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to try and play by the rules. Okay.
Fine, go ahead.
Here's mine. Okay. I would start with Edge of Tomorrow. Okay. As your starter, because it's light and fun. But it's setting a tone for a possibly a darker night. You know what I mean? And then that, of course, means that the cocktail has to be dead ringers so that we can get real nasty up in here.
This is a terrible night you're experiencing.
Yeah. We need something super meaty for this course, so we're going with Third Man as the entree. Okay. So we can really think about that. And then to wash it all down dessert style is Transformers the movie on quadruple speed this time, baby. Okay. Turn it all the way up.
A very exciting 7
chaser.
minutes. I'm gonna start out with Lion King because I think it's a nice light app, but it's also flawless, right? Puts me in a good mood. I am gonna go with a Michael Clayton cocktail because he feels like a strong cocktail.
Yeah,
You're gonna have a fun night.
Obviously, my main is gonna be Soylent Green because I'm very hungry and that's all I can afford. And then dessert is the most interesting part of this because our top, what's our top comedy? Bowfinger, I think, is our top comedy at 11. So I think that has to be my dessert.
Sure, yeah.
But I might want to say In the Cut just because it sounds like it's a pie. The name sounds like pie. You
That
can
is
do
not
that.
a dessert movie.
You would not want to eat that pie. You would not want that.
No, I agree that I do think that the fourth course should be something funny. So maybe I'm gonna do Batman for my
that's
dessert.
a great one.
It's not funny, but it is like a good.
No, I like that actually.
And I do think they actually eat in a restaurant in that movie, so that counts. So that's my movie.
They do. It doesn't go well. Everyone gets poisoned and dies, but it's still a good time.
Great.
You know?
Yeah, we still had a nice restaurant. That's the chance
Dinner
to take
at a museum
style food.
Yeah.
Anthony, you already answered.
I'll do two duels basically. So I'll do a robo pairing of Transformers and Iron Giant for the first and second, and then I'll do my duplicate pairing of Dead Ringers and then Bowfinger.
Yummy.
Oh, that's a good because that's a double duplicate
time.
with Dead Ringers. Yeah. All right, that's pretty solid. I like that. All right. Well, I mean, that was a pretty decent answer to that. We don't. These segments don't always go well. I feel like we did actually a pretty solid job there for Richard.
Well, that's the thing is this time it felt like, oh, we can do this. This is doable for this is at our level.
We know these
of ability.
Wait until you find out next week where we may have to do a month worth of exercise to satisfy our new meat buddy.
Dear.
I think we're going to talk about exercise instead of doing it. I think that's only fair.
I'm in.
I'm down to exercise. Hey, you know what? You want to force me to exercise? Good. Make me do it.
That's what it's going to take.
Well,
I think this might be up there with one of our dessert episodes because it was pretty tight. We got it down to an hour. So thank you so much, Richard, for supporting the show and all of our meat buddies. We really appreciate it. Sticking out even when we do terrible things like this.
So a dessert episode is one that just ends early? Like that's the best version of the show? Is that there's not much of it?
Yeah, I think people agree that what we need to do is leave a little more meat on the bone. That's what everyone
goes a long way.
Stop leaving them wanting less. That's the motto of our show.
That's true for Chris Tucker for me actually, because I liked him a lot in Fifth Element.
Yeah, he's great in Friday. Again, as a spice in the soup, you want just a little bit of Tucker tucked in there, a little bit. You don't want him overpowering everything. And Friday, he's great. Fifth Element, he's great. The first Rush Hour, he's pretty good.
Yeah,
but
that's a good description.
When there's too much Tucker.
Yeah, it's just not. You don't want to carry a movie on that, or at least the personality they wrote for him in this movie. You don't want to carry a movie. I'm sure Chris Tucker could do a whole movie that would be interesting. Yeah. But this and a guy who doesn't speak much but talks with his fists. It's not great dialogue you're going to get out of it. All right, don't say wait again because I'm playing the music.
What are we saying with this?
It's a good idea. Maybe that would make it better. All right, we're not leaving you wanting less. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this brief episode, as you've desired. We'll be back again next week with a much longer one as we get through Hero from 2002, where we probably will have things to say. I don't know. Maybe it's actually funnier when we're not happy. This is one of the downsides to the show's format from day one. We're actually less funny when we're enjoying ourselves, but we also have to enjoy ourselves. It's a tough pick, but we'll see you next week with that. In the meantime, you can support us on Patreon. You can also send us an email, podcast@weeb-weeb.com. And I want to thank Hunter for being here.
Yeah, hey, thank you.
Good to see you sitting in front of your vertical poker table. Ezra, thanks for joining us from your garage.
Absolutely. Oh, wait, Alex, I was going to say, the thing we talked about with the fans, being able to pick.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Can we do that?
How did we settle on this?
So what I was going to
give everybody the pitch. Tell everybody what's going to happen.
Okay, so I'm going to give my next movie choice, my target movie, back to the people. And so, Hunter, this is ripped from Old Gamers Almanac as an idea.
How dare you?
Yeah. Well, steal from the greats. And
steal like
basically, I was thinking I don't know what to do next, and so instead, so everyone who wants to, who's a meat buddy, submit to Alex what you think it should be, and we will randomly draw my target from you. So anyone who is not a meat buddy right now, you can join and submit what you want me to go for next. And you can be strategic. You can be very, very difficult. One of you will be picked randomly.
I will.
And there's a good chance someone's going to pick something you really don't want to see. And that will be a fun thing for the rest of the year of you trying to get as far away from a movie as
that would be a strategic move that would help me.
Yeah.
It's something that none of us wanted to watch, actually. I'll send an email to our meat buddies through the email system, not through Patreon that they don't see, requesting input for this, and we will draw one. And we'll draw it randomly, as Ezra has asked, next week on the show. Thank you for reminding me, Ez. And thanks for being here, Anthony Lopez.
Alex, flip me.
That's what you said. Stealing my quote at the beginning. You could have done that all along. All right, we'll talk to everybody next week. Goodbye.
Right.